Hey guys, this is Life from Maniac. Guys, today I'm going to be representing you the deck profile of my Valentine. My Valentine, one of the main characters of the Duel Monsters era, uh, in general, as of the Battle City in especial, was one of a kind, you might say, because she wasn't belonging to the group around Yugi Muto and Atem, Joey Wheeler and his gang, so to speak. But she eventually grew into the very gang that I was just talking about. She herself was a very selfish, a little bit arrogant, and very proud character, and very, very, very tough to get along with her because, like I said, very much into herself and not making good compromises and always being going for the bait and trying to achieve the best for herself. So she isn't much of a team player, which will be growing into a difficulty with the Yugi Muto group later on and other arcs then, but we'll come to that. Now, how about her deck? Her deck is consisting out of two main courses, namely the Harpy monster type, and of course the Amazonas type. Amazonas monsters. So you have to acknowledge that you have to put on two strategies after another, or better to say, parallel to each other, which makes the play a little bit more difficult because you have to be have an outbalanced deck which has an equally part of Harpier cards as well as Amazonas cards. So this what I tried to do, and like I said, I wanted to focus those cards to the very cards she herself played out into this Battle City arc, because, like I said, I want to make ultimate deck profile from my Valentine after all the Duel Monsters era is over, because then we can gather all cards and then make a better deck, a deck profile for itself, and another deck profile which will be considering her support cards, which currently exist in the TCG as well, and then making turbo my Valentine deck profile. So we have, at least if this deck profile is over, also in the Orichalcos era another deck profile, and then those two that I just spoke of. Now, like I said, to make it to start off and commence this deck profile, I also put a couple of cards in there which she possessed in the Duel Links Kingdom era, but not that many. But still, you can. It was very hard to make a deck profile to this deck and to get onto 40 cards, because she barely uses 40 cards, except for the option if you double or make 3 offs and 2 offs onto this deck, which I'm not a big fan of. But yeah, I had no other choice, as I didn't want to put any support cards or cards from other arcs in there, except for the Duelist Kingdom arc, as I already mentioned. Well, her first monster is Dark Witch, a card which she took into the battles in the Duelist Kingdom. A card which light type, fairy, light attribute, fairy type, 1800 attack, 1700 defense. You might say it's not that bad of an attack and defense stats, but with 5 stars, of course, it is bad, because in the Duelist Kingdom arc we don't have the tribute system. attributing summoning cards for others, for monster cards for other monster cards. So you have to you can of course summon any monster cards without attribute. Um, yeah, and that was not given in the up from the Battle City era on other arcs. So yeah, we had just this. This is why one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of the Duelist Kingdom era, except for the finals, which I thought were very great. But yeah, this one of the problems that I have with this arc. Then she played out in the Battle City era. Dynamis, the Dark Witch, with 4 stars, light attribute as well in the fairy type, 1800 attack and 1050 defense. Guys, another thing here is we have to consider and take into account that we just witnessed in the Battle City arc only one duel from my Valentine, which was the duel against Marek Ishtar. So we just witnessed one duel. We knew or we know as a matter of fact that she had many of them to get to the Battle City arc, but yeah, we just witnessed one, and of course, in the Duelist Kingdom arc, we watched, I think, two, one against Joey Wheeler and one against Yugi Muto, and I think maybe a third one, or just just not in entirely, but just I think yeah, just parts of it. Yeah, like it's comparable. So, for example, Rex Raptor, we just see the end of his duel against Esparoba, so that's why there won't be any deck profile for this character in this arc. But be patient, guys. In the Orichalcus era, we will get a full Rex Raptor deck profile there. Now, these were her only vanilla monsters that she had. Now we are coming to finally to Harpier 1, Harpier 2, of course, and Harpier 3. Now, the problem in the TCG is, and like I said, I built these character deck profiles not just only for anime relevance, but also to be played in the GOAT format. So I have to consider also what is going on currently in the TCG. And the problem is, for example, if I now have also 3 Cyber Harpies in the deck, and they are treated as Harpier monster cards, but these 3 as well. So there is a conflict, and you cannot have both of them, because you just can at the maximum have 3 cards with the same name. So if you have you take rather them or them. The advantage from the Cyber Harpier would be to have bigger stats with 1800 attack, offensive stats. Yeah, but the downside is, of course, you don't have that much of an effect advantage as with Harpier 1, 2, and 3. Harpier 1, for example, has the effect. First of all, it has 1300 attack, 1400 defense. It's called Harpier 1, has 4 stars, and of course, as all the other Harpiers as well, it's a wind attribute, and it has the effect. It's also, like I said, treated as Harpier, but every wind monster gets 300 attack boost. So it can support other Harpier cards, but also all other wind monster cards as well. Harpier 2 has also 4 stars and wind attribute, 1300 attack, 1400 defense as well. So they all have the same attack and defense stats, and also the attribute and types. Yeah, winged beast types all. It has the effect to negate the effect for flip effect monsters, which are destroyed by this card but in battle. So you have here an attack boost effect, and here you have an effect negate, flip effect negate skill, and the Harpier 3 with all, of course, the same as I already mentioned, attribute and type, and also attack and defense stats. You have the ability to one monster of your opponent which fights with this specific card cannot declare attacks during his two next turns. So if you combine these three, then you have a good, better effect, protection, or yeah, boost and negate and attack protection. But if you, yeah, tend to uh, be more be a little bit more offensive, then you would stick to these three, because 1800 attack, it's far better speculation to have, of course, to go and going first, and it would be, I think, much more sense to take this one, and with going second you have a better protective defensive measure with these. But all, like I said, I will be now having these six in the deck, and then you might exchange them with maybe other harpy cards. Maybe, for example, you can have then the play dragon of the harpy, maybe 2 or 3 times, because I just have one time in this deck. But you can exchange and fill the gap up in the gold format, so then you can play it also very good. And maybe in the gold format I would take this also out and then put it into the side deck. But still, we have these cards, and also I do have 3 Harpy Lady Sisters. So Harpy Lady Sisters uh, do all have 6 stars with 1950 attack and 1200 defense. Wind attribute, and also of course winged beast type monsters. And its effect is it cannot be normal summoned or be set. It just can be special summoned with how was it called in English? Uh, I think presumable egotist or something like that. Because in German it's called Formula Egotist, but I'm not sure how it is called in English anymore. I just forgot about it, but I'm just checking it. It's the specific spell card into this deck, which is a key to unlocking its potential. And yeah, if you just now take all the support cards away, of course, I'm not counting with the support cards, but just the cards she possessed in the Battle City arc, and of course in the around the Duelist Kingdom arc. Yeah, elegant egotist, of course. I just forgot about the adjective, so yeah. Don't blame me, please. All forgetting sometimes some words because I'm not a native speaker, but still, we will do fine. Now, yeah, of course, I just already mentioned the play Dragon of the Harpies, which is the most, the strongest monster from the Harpies, uh, from the Harpy type, of course, as in general in my Battle City deck. She didn't play this card out in New Battle City. She did play it out in the in between arcs, in between 1 and 2, and of course in the Duelist Kingdom. But we might uh, assume that she had this card in her deck, as it was one of her main strategies to bring this out and then finish the job, you might say. It has 6 stars in wind attribute and dragon type, which receives 300 attack and defense for each Harpier monster card on the field, with 2000 attack and 2500 defense. Now, these were all about the Harpier cards, because as I already mentioned, we also possess other type in other type, better to say, another course of action which we are pursuing. And of course, I'm talking about the Amazonas cards, and you might see these two, of course, as an exception. Now, I think she played out Amazonas Swordsman, which I took as a 3 off in this build. Amazonas Swordsman, an Earth type monster, 4 stars, warrior, Earth attribute and warrior type, and it possesses 1500 attack and 1600 defense. It works like that. The effect: the opponent takes all battle damage to this card's controller that she takes from a battle involving this monster. So it's a good reverse battle damage effect, which you have here. As Mai and her tactics could be also little bit of crafty and clever. Such a reverse effect would be really her thing. Then I have the Unfriendly Amazon. Yes, Amazon. Also, of course, all the Amazon's monsters are Earth attributes. I won't read it out. I'll just reveal it anymore. And 4 stars on all their, of course, also are warrior type monsters. And but this one has 2000 attack and 1000 defense. So it has very good attack stats. And its effect works like that. Offer one of your monsters on the field as a tribute, excluding this monster during each of your standby phases. If you cannot discard or destroy monsters used for a tribute summon or that are offered as tributes due to other cards' effect are excluded. So you have all to tribute a monster in every round, which can be also a disadvantage, but we have, of course, enough monsters then to tribute. So I think it might come in handy. And also, even if not, we have the possibility to attack once and let it then be destroyed in the next round. So with 2000 attack, it might be a very effective option. Then I have the Amazonas Chainmaster. Like I said, they all have 4 stars in Earth and attribute and warrior type. But this one possesses 1500 attack, 1300 defense, and effect works like that. When this monster is destroyed as a result of battle sent to the graveyard by paying 1500 life points, look at your opponent's hand and select one monster card from it. Add the selected card to your hand, and you can use it in this duel. When the card is sent to the graveyard, it is sent to the graveyard of the owner. So yeah, you get a card from your opponent, which could be a very cunning move and tactic in order to maybe destroy the strategy or tactic of the opponent. Then Amazonas Bowmaster, 4 stars, like I said, and warrior and all these things, with 1400 attack and 1000 defense. And it has the effect: tribute 2 monsters on your side of the field as a tribute to put life damage equal to the life points of 1200 points to your opponent. So also a burn damage effect, which could be handy. And last but not least, as monster, we have Amazonas Fighter, 1300 attack and 1300 defense. And its effect is all battle damage to its cards controlled that he she takes from battle involving this must become 0. So also a good defensive and protective measure up lineup. Now, these were all her monsters that I have seen in Battle City, except for this one because and this one were just played out in the Duelist Kingdom and in between arcs. Uh, but yeah, were a key card, of course, of her deck. Now, these were his monster cards, like I said, and now we're becoming drawing near to her spell cards. We must know that in the Battle City era, there were many cards for drawing possibilities like Pot of Greed uh, or Card of Sanctity. So I think this would be a card which she might have in her deck as well. And of course, it also comes handy in the Go format, especially Pot of Greed. But Card of Sanctity is errata, like we know, so but still, she might have this card. So one Card of Sanctity, in order then to now in the TCG in the gold format, you have to, if you don't control any cards anymore, you can remove then one or two cards from your hand and field and stuff, and to then draw two cards. Pot of Greed, very simple, draw two cards. Fissure, she possessed a card which was called, I think, Grave Arm, but it works, I think, comparable. Just as it does destroy a monster of your face-up monster of your opponent. So yeah, I exchanged it because the Grave Arm is not existing in the TCG yet, but maybe one day. And as I already forgot, of course, Graceful Charity is another drawing power option. So these three are the drawing power option. Graceful Charity she also played out in the Battle City arc. Monster Reborn, a card which was played out very often into the Battle City arc, and she had it also. A very significant card from her in order to make a board breaker action. To have a board breaker action with spell and trap cards, of course, which is Happy Feather Duster. Then for a little bit of an attack boost as well, this Cyber Shield, another card which she played out. I think it increases the attack stats from Harpy or Harpy Lady Sisters with 500. It's an equipped spell card, of course. Then, as I mentioned, Elegant Egotist is a 3-off, which is very, very, very essential to make a good play with this deck. If it works like that, if Harpier is on this field, you summon one Harpier or Harpier Lady Sister as a special summon from your hand or your deck. So this card also can special summon one Harpier or one Harpier Lady Sister. It doesn't necessarily have to be Harpier Lady Sister, so yeah, you can choose one of both. Then we have another of course, line up from the Amazonas cards in there, like Amazonas Spellcaster, which was also played out in the Battle City arc. And I'll also put in there a spell card which he had, I think, didn't play out in this arc, but in the Orichalcus era, especially, which is Amazonas Inheritance. This is, I think, the only exception that I did, because I didn't find my D-Spell spell card. D-Spell was a card that she played out in the Duelist Kingdom, but I had to come to 40 cards, so I just exchanged it, but you might then take D-Spell instead if you want to build it like that. So Amazon Spellcaster is a spell card which, until the end of this turn, switch the original attack stats of one face-up monster on your side of the field that includes Amazonas in its card name, or is now named Amazonas Arca with the original attack of the face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field. So it's comparable and very similar to Shield and Sword, but just with the attacks stats and just with Amazon's monsters. And Amazon's inheritance, you can, it's an equip spell card. You can equip one Amazon's monster with this card. Um, the first time in this turn in the which the equipped monster has been destroyed by battle, it won't be destroyed, and not after damage calculation if the uh, equipped monster did, attacked another monster, you have to destroy the other monster. Yeah. So also in good defense as well as in good attack mode operational possibility, you might say. Now, these were all her spell cards. You might add another Cyber Shield maybe as a little boost in this specific deck as well. And like I said, I wanted to make the curtain were very thin and be focused on just only on her Battle City cards, which were represented in the Battle City era. Also, like also the filler cards of the Battle City era, like that one. And of course, then a couple of Duelist Kingdom cards, which will fill the gaps, but are of course free to take others. Now, these were her spell cards. Then, like I said, a little bit difficult to put on two strategies at the same time, but it's always smart to have a plan B. So if currently the Harpy strategy is not working or is being blocked by another negate effect of your opponent, then you can put onto play the Amazoness cards instead. Well, trap cards, she possessed a couple of more in this one, but of course I filled also a card from the filled it up with a card of the Duelist Kingdom segment because yeah, I thought it would be appropriate. And first of all, the very card I'm talking about is Shadow of Ice. Of course, if you have a face down defense monster of your opponent, then it's flipped face up without having its effect being put into effect or put into play. Then Mirror Wall, very very famous iconic trap card which he possessed. Of course, it halves the attack of the attacking monster of your opponent, and it's a permanent trap card, so it works every standby phase. But you have to pay for it 2,000 life points. I don't know how it exactly worked in the anime, but in TCG you have to pay for it, or otherwise this card is just being destroyed. But it was very strong against Yami as well as in the Duelist Kingdom arc. Then she had Graffiti Bind, a very good trump card. If anything doesn't work, then you have slowed down your opponent, yeah, for a couple of turns maybe. Except for the case that your opponent might have a trap or spell card which has the ability to destroy a spell or trap cards or negate their effects. But it's also a permanent trap card. So if this one doesn't work, you have also the possibility to slow your opponent down by taking this into action. Then we don't have any Harpy trap cards into this very era, but it will be coming soon in the Orichalcus arc. I played two Amazoness Archers. She played just one, but we can make the adoption that she might have two. And Amazoness Archers work like that. You can only activate this card when your opponent declares an attack, and if there's a monster on your side of the field that includes Amazoness in its card's name or is named Amazoness Archer, all monsters on your opponent's side of the field are changed to face-up attack position. Flip effects are not activated, and as long as they remain face-up on the field, the attacks are decreased by 500 points. Not deceased, decreased by 500 points. Your opponent must attack with all of his/her monsters. So yeah, it's an attack block possibility, of course, and yeah, it also it makes your opponent attack with all his cards, and then you maybe if you, for example, combine this card, this Amazoness Arcus with Mirror Wall, then the opponent might be weakened, and it could be in this combination work as a board breaker. So it's very cool effect as well. Then I have last but not least Dramatic Rescue. There we go. Dramatic Rescue has the ability, if a card is activated which targets one Amazoness monster, you yeah reject that card and put it back up to the hand of the of the respective player, and if you do, you can summon another monster which as a special summon from your hand. Well, also a good effect. But those four, of course, work only with Amazon's monsters. But as I said, I think perhaps about the half of this deck is consisting of Amazon's monsters. So yeah, it makes all the sense of the world. Because you can, of course, make more 2 or 3 of the Amazon's monster to make it more probable to take this effect into play. And of course, these two I would recommend you to have, because yeah, they are good trump cards in the gold format. And of course, if you want to gain on the upper hand on the in terms of attack, and your opponent has a good defense lineup, then you might take this into effect, and then yeah, maybe the tides will turn. So this was it. This was my 40 cards my Valentine Battle City character deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and give me some love, show me some love, and comment down below if you liked it or not. And yeah, which relevance and which connection do you have with those cards, maybe in the old days, or of course with the newer one. Into the GX era, of course, we have also Tanya, which plays in a whole based Amazon's character, and then we were having there more Amazon's cards, support cards, and of course monster cards as well. As I already mentioned, of course, I will have in the turbo my Valentine deck profile the best combination of those two Harpier and Amazoness monster card types, as well as spell and trap, of course, which after my stance would be very cunning and strategic, make all the sense in the world, and the most smart option into the gold format. Now, this is it, guys. Of course, there will be another deck profiles, maybe not in this week, maybe also, I don't know. I will be making that voluntarily up if I have the time. I will be doing it this week, otherwise another week. We have, of course, a couple of villains and henchmen of Yami Marek, which we have to talk about and make character deck profiles as well about him. And then, yeah, we have to consider that as well. Or I will, I will, to say it least, consider them at last. Yeah, to make a long short story short, I know I'm talking very much. Yeah, I hope you guys a good evening, good morning, good day, yeah, good afternoon, whenever you guys see this deck profile. And was it for today. And bye. Your Slifer Maniac.